guys bring on the very funny Sanjay Manaktala!
I would most likely describe stand-up comedy with the following statement, which I've said quite a few times before, that there is nothing funny about the funny business, which is the actual act of doing stand-up comedy is great. A lot of people come up to me after a show and go, wow, was that all improvised? And I say, of course not. That's taken years years and years to make sure these 20 things out of my mouth over these 20 minutes are gonna make a group of strangers laugh. My name is Sanjay Manaktala. I'm a stand-up comedian, former IT engineer. I've been doing this for about 5 years now, I would say. Before that, I was working in software pretty much all my life. Stand-up comedy is a very difficult profession. There's a reason not everybody is doing it, because once you actually start doing it, I think the first 50 times I did it, I was terrible. I don't think I got a single laugh. That still does happen from time to time. I was just in Gujarat performing for a bunch of aunties and uncles, and whoosh, they were like, why is he talking this way? It's confusing to us. Generally, if an idea pops into my head, I'll note the observation right away. I'll try to think of the who, what, where, when, why this is funny, and I'll go from there. So there was one example. I was flying on Indigo Airlines recently. This is a joke I'm working on right now. And I'm happy because last night I kind of finally got it to a place I was happy with. And basically the joke was I was sitting in Indigo, and I'm sure you know, when you fly into Bangalore specifically, I noticed, they tell you, put up your tray table, fasten your seatbelt, but they say if you have a laptop, don't forget that you have to save your work. And I thought that's so weird, you know? When did an airline flight announcement tell me that I have to save my work on my laptop? So, you know, that was observation one, that this was just her requirement. She has to say this. So then I thought, you know, tomorrow, what's next? They're gonna remind us to do spell checking and, you know, all that stuff.
Sir, I told you, put on your laptop. Madam, I haven't saved my work yet. I haven't. Oh my God, sir, I'm so sorry. Captain, go around. Go around. He hasn't saved his work yet. What? Why hasn't he saved his work? It's a Windows laptop, sir. Don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. Go back up. Why do I have to go back up? He's saying it's in the cloud. Just come on. Just please, just go back up.
Huge other part of comedy is what we call delivery, if you'll say. So delivery is also about comic timing. Are you pausing in the right places? Are you using the right attitude? Attitude is very important. So when you're writing a stand-up 30 minutes or a half an hour, typically it's a bunch of 2 to 3 minute jokes and observations, right? So you'll start to see themes amongst your jokes. If I have a joke about Facebook, if I have a joke about Tinder, if I have a joke about, you know, getting older and trying to find somebody, and I have a joke about the office workplace at Infosys or Wipro, I'll have to kind of crunch them together into places that are relatable. Typically, it's brute force memorization. If you can't memorize 10 minutes, 20 minutes in the beginning to do something you're very serious about, you're going to be in big trouble. Like, there is definitely a good amount of work ethic involved, and you need to memorize to make sure that you have the flow and the structure down. So when you start in stand-up comedy, there are very different tiers of comedians, if you will. There's what's called an open mic, where that's where you start in comedy and that's where you get your chops. Chops is basically experience, kind of your road experience, or you build your muscles in the business. You learn how to just get through 5 minutes speaking in a microphone for a group of strangers. You learn how to deal with hecklers. You know, for example, last night at a open mic that I was hosting, some guy just yelled, "You suck." Not to me, but to one of the guys who was just doing it for about a week. That guy almost broke down and cried and ran off the stage. So with stand-up comedy, you need an audience to perfect your craft. There's no real practice per se. So open mic is the only middle ground where you get an audience, the prices are free, and you pop in and you do your set. So once you have established yourself and gotten pretty fine at open mics, then you move on to what's called a featured act, or an opening act, if you will. That's where you will perform either in your city or with somebody else. And then there is what's called a headliner, and the headliner is basically the main act, the person you are there to see. Go to a couple of comedy shows, observe, then go to an open mic and observe the comedians there. Notice how they sign up on a piece of paper, they get their spot, they perform for 4 minutes, and they get off. Once you've done that once or twice, then it's a long road, but if you're interested, welcome to the club. Sign up yourself, perform 4 to 5 minutes. You know, if you're like me, bomb, do really badly for the first 15, 20 times. But in India, people are pretty friendly. You'll probably get a good hee hee ha ha laugh somewhere that you might do really well. And then, you know, keep coming. Education-wise, I would say that you should definitely be well-read as you start doing this. Make sure that you are aware of what's going on in your day-to-day life, in the collective thought of, you know, the country, for example, what some minister said, or, you know, Modi is heading to the US, I think, pretty soon. So it is important to do jokes on those current event topics from time to time, because those jokes obviously are on people's minds and they want to hear your spin on it. So write jokes that are true to your experience. Don't try to write for somebody else. And secondly, I would say have patience. You're going to see people who are going to do very well in stand-up comedy 1 year in. It's going to inspire you to do that. You're going to see your friend get famous after 2 years. And then you're going to think you're going to get famous after 2 years, but it might take you 10 years. It really depends. You can see comedians making $5,000 per show. Beginners make $1,000 to $2,000 per show, and they're happy to. It covers the gas and expenses, you know. And people can make between, you know, 10,000 on average to a lakh, depending on how good they are, how famous they are, and all that. Typically, I mean, it's a middle-class lifestyle if you're good at it. You can earn decent middle-class money, and a few, maybe out of the 100 in India, maybe 5 to 10 are earning, you know, upper-class, you know, lifestyles, because they're in Bombay and they've got some material that really resonates with people. They've built a brand around themselves. Networking is big. You'll see comedians who are not that funny and getting bigger spots over other comedians, probably myself included, because they were chummy and they were friendly with people. If I'm gonna go travel somewhere, even though this guy might be a little bit funnier, if he's not a nice guy, I don't wanna sit on a train with him for 5 hours, you know? I'd rather, you know, hang out with a friend. We can hang out, we can have a drink, we can, you know, just chill, gossip, whatever. So I think networking is very big, like any industry.